There are legends who leave behind music. And then, there are legends who leave behind wars. On April 21, 2016, inside a quiet elevator at Paisley Park, the world lost Prince Rogers Nelson, a genius, a perfectionist, a man who controlled every note, every lyric, every beat of his empire. But when the doors opened, something critical was missing. No will, no instructions, no final word. And in that silence, a $156 million empire began to tear itself apart. What followed was not just a celebration of legacy, but a 6-year inheritance battle involving siblings who barely spoke, strangers who claimed his blood, lawyers who charged millions, and a vault of music so powerful it could fund generations, yet remained locked behind court orders. This is not just Prince's story. This is a verdict on what happens when brilliance outlives preparation. And before we go any further, ask yourself one question. If you died tomorrow, who decides everything you worked for? Before the world bowed to Prince, before stadiums sang his lyrics back to him, there was a child learning how to survive instability. Prince Rogers Nelson did not grow up in silence. He grew up in music and conflict. Born on June 7, 1958 in Minneapolis, Prince was the child of two deeply talented and deeply incompatible artists. His father, John L. Nelson, was a disciplined jazz pianist. His mother, Maddie Shaw, was a vocalist with fire in her voice. Together, they performed as the Prince Roger Trio. But behind closed doors, harmony rarely existed. Arguments filled the house, doors slammed, love was inconsistent. And Prince watched everything. He once said the piano became his escape route. By the age of 7, while most children were learning multiplication, Prince was teaching himself chords and writing his first song, Funk Machine. Not for fun, for control. Because when music played, the noise stopped. In 1968, when Prince was just 10 years old, his parents divorced. That single event fractured his childhood permanently. Prince moved between homes, sometimes with his mother, sometimes with his father, sometimes nowhere at all. Friends later recalled Prince sleeping on couches, in basements, anywhere he wasn't in the way. This was the moment something hardened inside him. The boy learned a dangerous truth early. Dependence leads to disappointment. From that point on, Prince didn't just love music, he became consumed by it. He mastered guitar, then bass, then drums, then piano. 27 instruments played with precision by a teenager who barely trusted adults. By high school, he formed his first band, Grand Central, alongside future legends like Andre Simone and Morris Day. But Prince didn't want collaboration. He wanted control, and he got it. At just 17 years old, Prince signed a recording deal that shocked the industry. Warner Bros. Gave him something unheard of, complete creative control. Every note, every lyric, every instrument, no oversight, no interference. It was the beginning of a pattern. Prince learned early that authority came from ownership, and ownership became everything. By the early 1980s, his rise was unstoppable. Dirty Mind shattered taboos. 1999 redefined pop prophecy. Purple Rain made him immortal. The album, the film, the tour. Over $70 million at the box office, an Academy Award, global domination. But behind the purple suits and screaming crowds, Prince remained alone. Prince married for the first time in 1996 to Maite Garcia. For the first time, those close to him believed he might finally build a traditional family. Then tragedy struck. Their son, Amir, was born with a rare genetic disorder. Days later, he was gone. Prince never publicly recovered. Friends said the loss changed his spirit. The marriage collapsed, and the idea of heirs, of lineage, disappeared with the child he never got to raise. His second marriage ended quietly in 2006. No children, no succession plan, just silence. And silence became policy. In 1987, Prince built Paisley Park, a 65,000 square foot compound designed to be everything at once: a studio, a residence, a museum, a vault. To the public, it was a creative paradise. To Prince, it was a fortress. Inside, he recorded relentlessly, thousands of unreleased songs, videos never seen, entire albums locked away, enough music to last a century. Yet strangely, no will, no trust, no instructions. The contradiction is impossible to ignore. How does a man control every detail of his art, but leave his legacy unguarded? Some say faith played a role. In 2001, Prince became a devout Jehovah's Witness. Life, he believed, was temporary. Others say superstition, that planning for death invited it. And some say the truth is simpler. Prince believed he would always be here. As the years passed, Prince grew more private, more isolated, more unwilling to delegate. Lawyers later admitted they tried and failed to get him to plan. He postponed, he avoided, he dismissed. And when death finally arrived, it arrived uninvited, leaving behind not just music, but a legal storm waiting to explode. We meet the people who inherited everything, not because Prince chose them, but because the law had no other option. 6 siblings, equal shares, old wounds, and a fortune that would test every bond between them. When Prince died, the law did something ruthless. It flattened his life into a checklist. Decades of genius, years of estrangement, moments of love and resentment, all reduced to one legal sentence: heirs at law. Under Minnesota's intestate succession statute, Prince's $156 million estate would not go to protégés, not to charities, not to the people he trusted most. It would go to blood. And suddenly, 6 people, some close, some distant, some barely known, were bound together by money, grief, and a system that does not care about emotions. Tyka Nelson was Prince's only full sibling. Born 2 years after him, she shared the same parents, the same childhood turbulence, the same musical instincts. Unlike the others, Tyka understood Prince before the fame. She knew the boy before the legend. Their relationship wasn't perfect: addiction, distance, silence. But Prince never abandoned her. He helped her financially. He encouraged her music. He watched over her quietly. So when the court declared equal shares, many assumed Tyka would lead. Instead, she hesitated. In interviews after his death, Tyka admitted something devastating. She had no idea Prince didn't have a will, no instructions, no plan. And as the months dragged on, the pressure mounted. Lawyers, media, court deadlines. Starting in 2019, Tyka began selling her share, 90% of it, to a professional music investment firm. Not because she didn't care, but because she was drowning. Her partial exit would change everything. From Prince's father's side came 3 half-siblings: Sharon Nelson, Noreen Nelson, and John R. Nelson. They shared blood, but not childhood. Their relationship with Prince was distant, sometimes polite, sometimes silent. John R. Nelson, a Vietnam veteran, rarely spoke publicly. He attended a few events, stayed out of the spotlight. Then, in 2021, he died, and just like that, his inheritance didn't vanish, it multiplied. His share passed to his children. More voices, more opinions, more friction. The estate was already divided. Now it was fractured. From Prince's mother's side came Alfred Jackson and Omar Baker. Alfred lived quietly, painfully quietly. Before Prince's death, he struggled financially. Neighbors described him as humble and shocked when the checks arrived. His first distribution reportedly exceeded $7 million. 3 years later, in 2019, Alfred was dead. No trust, no long-term protection. His share became yet another estate inside the estate. Omar was different, younger, musical, publicly calm. He urged unity, spoke of honoring Prince. But unity is fragile when millions are on the table, and grief turns patience into suspicion. This is the fatal flaw of intestate law. It assumes equality equals fairness. It does not account for estrangement, dependence, trust, intent. The law does not ask, who did Prince love most? Who did he trust? Who understood his vision? It only asks one question: who qualifies? And qualification is not the same as consent. Within months, cracks formed. Disagreements over advisors, disputes over releases, arguments about Paisley Park. Some heirs wanted control, others wanted peace, some wanted out. Every decision required unanimity, and unanimity among grieving strangers is almost impossible. Lawyers later described meetings as tense, emotional, exhausting, and that was before the outsiders arrived. Because the moment probate begins, everyone shows up. People you've never met, people with stories, people with claims. And next, they come by the dozens. Men claiming to be sons, women claiming to be wives, documents pulled from thin air. The estate would soon face dozens of claims, some desperate, some fraudulent, some delusional, all expensive, all time-consuming, and all enabled by one missing piece of paper. Prince once wrote, "There's joy in repetition." But in probate, repetition means delay, and delay means millions lost. When there's no will, everyone believes they belong. When probate opened, the gates opened with it. Not gently, not respectfully, they burst open. Because when a $156 million estate sits unguarded by a will, it sends a signal, a message heard far beyond family circles. If you can prove anything, you can take something. Within days of Prince's death, the court's inbox filled. Not condolences, claims. Men arrived claiming to be sons Prince never acknowledged. Women arrived claiming secret marriages. Distant relatives surfaced with stories passed down through whispers. By the end of May 2016, dozens of individuals had formally filed claims against the estate. Each claim required review. Each review required lawyers. Each lawyer required payment. And every dollar spent defending fiction was a dollar not preserving legacy. One claim rose above the rest, not because it was convincing, but because it was dangerous. Carlin Q. Williams, an inmate serving time in a Colorado prison, claimed Prince was his father. He alleged a decades-old relationship between Prince and his mother. He demanded DNA testing. For a moment, the estate froze, because if true, everything changed. A biological child would outrank every sibling. The entire estate would flip. Judge Kevin Ide authorized testing. The results came back. No relation. The claim collapsed. But the damage didn't. Months of legal work, hundreds of thousands in fees, and the message spread. The door was open. Then came the marriage claims. One woman alleged she and Prince married in secret overseas. Another claimed a handwritten note proved commitment. No licenses, no witnesses, no evidence. Each claim failed, but none were free. Every allegation had to be disproven, not ignored, and the clock kept ticking. By 2017, the judge had seen enough. No more stories, no more memories, only DNA. After months of testing, the court reached a conclusion. Prince had no surviving children, no secret sons, no hidden heirs, just 6 siblings. The law exhaled. The family did not. By the time the false claims were dismissed, the estate had already hemorrhaged money. Millions gone to attorneys, millions more in delays. Music unreleased, deals postponed, opportunities missed. This wasn't just chaos, it was compound loss. And worse, the family was breaking down. Grief turned into suspicion, suspicion turned into resentment. Every delay felt intentional, every disagreement felt personal. Then the unthinkable happened. In August 2019, Alfred Jackson, one of the 6 heirs, died. He had barely tasted inheritance, barely adjusted to security, and now his share needed probate too. The estate was no longer one legal puzzle, it was nested chaos. 2 years later, in 2021, John R. Nelson died as well. Another share, another redistribution, another layer of complexity. The law doesn't pause for mourning, it recalculates. By 2022, estimates placed legal and administrative costs at over $45 million. $45 million spent not on art, not on preservation, not on charity, but on arguing about who deserved what. Prince once fought Warner Brothers to own his masters. Now, his estate was fighting itself. Contrast this with Elvis Presley. His trust was clear, his heirs known, his legacy controlled. Prince, who demanded more control than almost any artist in history, left none when it mattered most. And yet, the biggest battle was still ahead, because once the claimants were gone, the real fight began, not over who inherits, but who controls. Grief had cost the estate millions, but now math arrived, and math is merciless. Because before a single heir could truly move forward, before any legacy could be finalized, the government had a question. How much was Prince actually worth? The estate's administrators presented their valuation. After consulting experts, analysts, and projections, they arrived at a figure: $82.3 million. Reasonable, they argued. Prince was gone. Future earnings were uncertain. The vault was unproven. But the Internal Revenue Service looked at that number and contested it fiercely. Their valuation? $163.2 million, nearly double. And the difference between those two numbers wasn't academic. It meant tens of millions in taxes. Estate tax is not based on what money exists, but on what money could exist. Every unreleased song, every licensing opportunity, every future documentary, all of it mattered. Prince's vault, once an artistic mystery, became a fiscal weapon. Thousands of tracks, unreleased albums, entire eras of music sitting behind steel doors. To the IRS, that wasn't art, it was potential revenue. Here's the irony. Prince was famous for controlling his releases. He destroyed masters, withdrew albums, blocked licensing. There was no guarantee he would have allowed posthumous exploitation. But the law doesn't value intent, it values possibility, and possibility is taxable. For years, the two sides argued. Experts testified, projections clashed, charts were drawn. Was Prince's catalog more like Elvis or more like a niche archive? Could the vault realistically produce hits, or was it mostly unfinished work? Every assumption mattered. Every assumption had a price tag. Meanwhile, the estate remained frozen. Money sat untouched, decisions delayed, tensions intensified. In 2022, after 6 years of standoff, the estate and the IRS reached a settlement. Final valuation? $156.4 million. Closer to the IRS, painfully expensive for the heirs, but necessary. The tax bill alone reached staggering heights, and it forced a realization: not everyone could afford to stay in. Managing Prince's estate wasn't just emotional, it was technical. Licensing, brand protection, streaming strategy, legal defense. And some heirs began to ask a question they never expected. Do we even want this responsibility? Because ownership doesn't always mean power. Sometimes it means pressure. Starting in 2019 and continuing through 2021, Tyka Nelson, Omar Baker, and Alfred Jackson's estate sold their shares to professional firms. The reasons weren't greed, they were exhaustion and relief. Their exits sent a signal. If Prince's closest family couldn't endure it, who could? Control consolidated into two main entities: Primary Wave, majority from sales, and Prince Legacy LLC, remaining family interests. What remained was no longer purely a family estate, it was a corporate partnership with ongoing governance tensions. Prince once warned, if you don't own your masters, someone else will. Ironically, ownership itself became the burden. Prince spent his entire career fighting corporations. He changed his name to a symbol. He wrote "slave" on his face. He warned artists about ownership long before it was fashionable. And yet, after his death, his empire became exactly what he resisted: a business deal managed professionally. By the early 2020s, the reality was undeniable. Managing Prince's estate wasn't about love for music anymore. It was about tax compliance, litigation defense, catalog valuation, and global licensing strategy. This wasn't grief work, it was corporate governance. Some heirs wanted to protect Prince's vision at all costs. Others wanted stability, and stability in this world came with professional help. Primary Wave is one of the most powerful music investment firms on earth. They buy legacies, they monetize catalogs, they turn nostalgia into structured revenue. Between 2019 and 2021, Primary Wave acquired the interests of Tyka Nelson, 90%, Omar Baker, 100%, and Alfred Jackson's estate, 100%. Just like that, a large stake changed hands, not through betrayal, but through relief. The selling heirs didn't walk away rich alone, they walked away free. Those who sold believed they were saving the legacy by professionalizing it. Those who didn't saw it as partial surrender. Two entities now existed: Primary Wave and Prince Legacy LLC. With professional management came releases. Albums Prince never approved but never destroyed. Piano and a Microphone, 1983, Originals, Welcome to America, and more deluxe editions like Around the World in a Day in 2025. The vault, once sacred, began to unlock, slowly, with only about 45% digitized. Each release reignited the same debate. Would Prince have allowed this? Fans were divided. Some cried exploitation, others cried gratitude. But the numbers spoke clearly. Streams surged, revenue climbed, the business model worked. Then came Paisley Park, once a private sanctuary, now a museum. Tours, merchandise, ticketed experiences, millions a year in revenue. Prince's home had become a destination, and again the question hovered: is this preservation or exposure? Into 2024 and 2025, tensions surfaced, advisors removed, counterclaims filed. Delaware courts involved disputes over governance. The dispute wasn't about music anymore. It was about who decides, who approves deals, who speaks for Prince. Judges noted the complexity required professional expertise. Prince fought his whole life to avoid being boxed in, yet in death, his legacy was structured, audited, and managed in portions, not because his family failed him, but because he never decided for himself. And still, the story evolves, because even after the main settlements, new questions arise. Most inheritance battles end with a settlement. Prince's main probate did in 2022, but some echoes just changed shape. Because once the money was divided and the catalog managed, one problem remained: who truly speaks for Prince? In 2022, the estate reached what headlines called a final settlement. Assets split, responsibilities assigned, the probate closed. But behind the scenes, distrust lingered in governance. By 2024-2025, disagreements resurfaced, lawsuits between partners over authority. The battlefield involved Delaware, corporate hub. Here, the fight was technical. Advisors accused of misconduct. Heirs accused boards of overreach. Judges reviewed contracts, governance documents, and rulings acknowledged Prince's estate had become too complex for family-only control. Professional management was necessary. In 2025, a trademark dispute erupted. Apollonia Cotero, the Purple Rain co-star, sued the estate over rights to her stage name, which Prince gave her character. She claimed decades of use without interference. The estate sought to protect Prince-related marks. The fight was protective, but reignited debates. Where does Prince's legacy end and others' careers begin? High-profile projects stalled. Creative differences, access disputes, no single voice to approve everything. As of 2026, the main probate remains closed. Focus shifts to celebration, a 5-day, 10th-year anniversary celebration of life from June 3rd through 7th across Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Paisley Park. Reissues continue. Parade planned for 2026. Anniversary events. Purple lights on skylines. The machine moves forward, even when full consensus doesn't. Prince didn't leave chaos because he was careless. He left complexity because he was human. He believed he had time. He believed control was permanent. And the law requires documentation. One chapter remains. The verdict. Not legal, but human. When people talk about Prince now, they talk about the music, the genius, the innovation, the purple rain that never seems to stop falling. But behind the playlists and tributes, there's another story playing quietly, a cautionary one. Prince's estate closed its main probate years ago, but the cost will never be fully recovered, not just in money, though over $45 million vanished into legal fees, but in time. Years where music sat unreleased, years where family relationships hardened, years where fans waited. Time is the one asset no legacy can replenish. Prince had opinions about everything: what music should sound like, how artists should be treated, what exploitation looked like. But when he died without a will, his opinions died with him. The law doesn't guess. It doesn't interpret character. It follows procedure. And procedure doesn't ask what Prince would have wanted. It only asks what's written. And nothing was. Prince fought harder than almost any artist to own his work. Yet ownership without instruction is incomplete. Control without succession is temporary. His life proves a paradox few want to face. You can dominate your industry and still lose control of your legacy. 6 siblings entered probate as equals. They did not leave as such. Some exited early, exhausted. Some stayed and fought. Some passed away mid-process. None of them planned to become public figures in a legal drama. Grief mixed with money is volatile. Add silence from the person who could have guided it, and the explosion becomes inevitable. Prince's estate wasn't chaotic because he was rich. It was complex because he was unprepared. And that mistake is not exclusive to celebrities. Most people don't have $156 million, but many leave behind confusion, unclear wishes, unspoken intentions, families forced to guess. The scale changes, the damage doesn't. Here is the final verdict, not from a judge, but from reality itself. Prince did not fail as an artist. He did not fail as a visionary. He failed to finish the story. And when a story is unfinished, others will write the ending for you. When the courtroom lights go dark, and the lawyers leave, and the documents are finally filed away, something remains: the music. Prince never wrote for courts. He wrote for emotion, for rebellion, for freedom. And yet, the final chapter of his life unfolded in paperwork, before shifting to celebration. Despite everything, the delays, the disputes, the divisions, Prince's influence never slowed. His songs continue to surface in new generations, a guitar riff here, a lyric there. Teenagers discovering Purple Rain for the first time. Producers sampling his work without even realizing whose shoulders they stand on. Streaming numbers climb, tributes multiply, reissues like Parade in 2026 keep coming. The world moves forward, even when the estate navigated complexity. The vault remains both gift and burden. Thousands of unreleased recordings still under careful access. Every release debated, digitization ongoing. Because once something is released, it cannot be undone. Prince understood permanence better than most, which is why his silence on planning is so haunting. Anniversary editions, Paisley Park tours, the 5-day, 10-year anniversary celebration of life in June 2026 across the Twin Cities. Purple lights illuminating skylines, fans gathering, not to argue about inheritance, but to remember what the music made them feel. This is the part of legacy that can't be litigated. Emotion does not require permission. Prince's estate teaches a brutal truth. Greatness does not protect you from unfinished business. Talent does not replace preparation. Silence is not neutrality. It is a decision, and it carries consequences. Prince didn't lose his legacy, but he lost full control of it. This story isn't really about Prince. It's about what we all leave behind. Because one day, every life becomes an estate, large or small, simple or complex, and someone else will interpret what you never explained. The question is not, how will I be remembered? It is, who will decide? If this story moved you, if it unsettled you, if it made you think, that was the point. Because inheritance stories aren't about death, they're about responsibility.